Welcome to my channel. Make sure to like and subscribe for more content. Thank you so much.
She laughed and said, "You really thought someone like me would ever date someone like you?" Her friends couldn't stop giggling. I smiled and said, "Good. Then this is the last time you'll have to see me." Later that night, her best friend sent me a message that made my hands freeze. "I'm 30 years old. I work in IT consulting, make decent money, keep myself in shape, and I've always been the kind of guy who minds his own business. I'm not the loudest person in the room, but I'm not invisible either. I thought I knew what I wanted. A stable relationship, someone genuine, maybe eventually a family. I thought I'd found that with Emma. We'd been dating for 8 months, met through mutual friends at a rooftop barbecue last summer. She was 27, worked in marketing, had this infectious laugh that made everyone around her smile. She was beautiful, sure, but it wasn't just that. She seemed kind. She seemed real. We clicked fast, late-night conversations, weekend trips, meeting each other's friends. I introduced her to my parents after 4 months. My mom loved her. My dad said she had good energy. I was falling hard. But there were signs I ignored. Little things. She'd check her phone constantly when we were together, then laugh and say it was just work or her friends being dramatic. She'd cancel plans last minute sometimes, always with a reasonable excuse. Her mood would shift unexpectedly, warm and affectionate one day, distant and distracted the next. I told myself every relationship had rough patches. I told myself I was overthinking. 3 weeks ago, everything changed. It was a Friday night. We'd planned to meet at this trendy wine bar downtown that her friends loved. I got there around 8, wearing a button-down she once said made my eyes look nice. I spotted her at a corner table with 4 of her friends, Jess, Alicia, Maya, and someone I didn't recognize. They were already laughing, glasses half empty, the kind of pre-tipsy energy that makes everything funnier than it should be. I walked over with a smile. "Hey, sorry I'm a bit late. Traffic was insane." Emma looked up at me, and there was this split second where her expression was blank. Not warm, not welcoming, just blank. Then she glanced at her friends, and Jess smirked. "Oh, he actually showed up," Jess said. I laughed, thinking it was a joke. Of course I showed up. Why wouldn't I? Emma took a long sip of her wine. Then she set the glass down, looked me dead in the eye, and said, "Honestly? I don't know why you keep trying so hard." The table went quiet. Then Maya giggled nervously. "What do you mean?" I asked. Emma leaned back in her chair, arms crossed. "I mean, look at you. Look at us." She gestured around the table. "You really thought someone like me would ever seriously date someone like you?" Her friends couldn't stop giggling. Not loud, obnoxious laughter, just these little snickers, like they were in on some inside joke I wasn't part of. Alicia covered her mouth. Jess stared at her drink, grinning. I stood there for what felt like an eternity. My chest tightened. My face got hot. But I didn't yell. I didn't make a scene. I just smiled. Not a fake smile, but the kind you give when you finally understand something you should have seen coming. "Good," I said. "Then this is the last time you'll have to see me." I turned and walked out. Didn't look back. Didn't wait for a response. I could hear Emma say something behind me, maybe my name, but I kept walking. Got in my car, drove home, sat on my couch in the dark for 2 hours, replaying the whole thing in my head. I didn't cry right away. I was too numb, too confused. 8 months. I'd met her family. I'd helped her move apartments. I'd listened to her cry about her job, her insecurities, her past. And this was how it ended? In front of her friends, like I was some punchline she'd been waiting to deliver? Around midnight, my phone buzzed. A text from a number I didn't recognize. "Hey, this is Alicia, Emma's friend from tonight. I need to talk to you. I'm so sorry about what happened. You didn't deserve that." I stared at the message. Alicia, Emma's friend, the one who'd been sitting right there. I almost deleted it, almost blocked the number, but something in the tone felt genuine. I typed back, "Why are you texting me?" 3 dots appeared, then, "Because what she did was wrong. And there's more you should know, not to hurt you more, but because you deserve the truth. Can we talk tomorrow?" My hands froze. Update 1: I didn't sleep that night. I kept staring at Alicia's message, reading it over and over. Part of me wanted to ignore it, just block everyone connected to Emma and move on. But I couldn't. The phrase, "There's more you should know," kept echoing in my head. At 2 in the morning, I finally replied, "Fine. Coffee shop on 5th and Main, noon tomorrow." She responded instantly, "I'll be there. Thank you." The next day felt surreal. I went through my morning routine on autopilot. Shower, coffee, staring at my phone, wondering what I was walking into. At 11:30, I drove to the coffee shop. Got there early. Ordered a black coffee I didn't touch. Sat by the window watching people walk by, wondering what the hell I was doing. At exactly noon, Alicia walked in. She looked different from the night before. No makeup, hair in a simple ponytail, wearing jeans and a sweater. She looked tired. She ordered tea at the counter, then sat across from me. "Thanks for meeting me," she said quietly. I didn't say anything, just waited. She took a breath. "Look, I know you probably don't want to hear from any of us ever again. I don't blame you. What happened last night was... I've been thinking about it all night. I couldn't sleep." "Why did she do that?" I asked. My voice came out flatter than I expected. "I don't know," Alicia said. "I mean, I have theories, but I don't really know. Emma's been my friend for 5 years, and sometimes I don't understand her at all." "What did you mean when you said there's more I should know?" Alicia looked down at her cup. "Emma's been going through something. I don't know all the details because she doesn't talk about it, but I know she's been seeing a therapist. Something about commitment issues, self-sabotage patterns. Jess mentioned it a few weeks ago." I felt a knot form in my stomach. "So this was... what? Some kind of test?" "I don't think so. I think she got scared. You were getting serious. You met her parents. She told me once that whenever things get real, she finds a way to destroy them before they can destroy her." Alicia looked up at me. "That doesn't excuse what she did. Nothing excuses that. But I thought you should know it wasn't about you. It was never about you." "It felt pretty personal," I said. "I know. And I'm so sorry. I should have said something last night. I should have stood up for you. Instead, I just sat there like a coward." We sat in silence for a moment. "Why are you telling me this?" I asked. "Because you seem like a good person." And I watched Emma destroy something good because she's too scared to let herself be happy. I've watched her do it before, just never that cruelly. And I realized I've been enabling her by staying quiet, by laughing along, by pretending her behavior is just Emma being Emma. Alicia pulled out her phone, hesitated, then put it away. "I was going to show you some messages, but I realized that's not my place. That would just be more drama, more pain. What I will say is this. Emma texted the group chat after you left last night. She didn't apologize. She didn't feel bad. She said she finally got the courage to end things and that she felt free." My chest tightened. "I left the group chat after that," Alicia continued. "I told Emma this morning that I can't be friends with someone who treats people that way. She called me a traitor. Jess and Maya are mad at me too. But I don't care anymore. I needed you to know that not everyone thought what happened was okay. I looked at this woman I barely knew, who'd risked her friendships to tell me the truth, and I felt something shift. Not better exactly, but less alone. Thank you, I said, for telling me, for being honest. I'm sorry it happened at all, she said. We talked for another 20 minutes. She told me more about Emma's pattern, how she'd done similar things to previous boyfriends, though never quite as publicly. How Jess and Maya encouraged her worst impulses instead of calling her out. How Alicia had stayed friends with them out of habit, out of history, but realized she didn't actually like the people they'd become. When we left, Alicia gave me her number. If you ever need to talk, or if you have questions, reach out. I know I'm probably the last person you want to hear from, but the offer stands. I thanked her again and drove home. That night, I did something I hadn't done in years. I called my older brother, David. Update 2. David lives 3 hours away with his wife and 2 kids. We're close, but we don't talk about feelings much. We talk about sports, work, dad jokes. So when I called him Saturday night and said, I need advice, I could hear the surprise in his voice. What's going on? He asked. I told him everything. The relationship, the wine bar, the humiliation, the conversation with Alicia. I expected him to get angry on my behalf, maybe tell me Emma was trash and I should forget about her. Instead, he was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, How are you feeling right now? I don't know, I admitted. Confused. Hurt. Angry. Embarrassed. All of that makes sense, he said. You got blindsided. That's brutal, man. I'm sorry. I keep replaying it in my head, I said, trying to figure out what I did wrong. What I missed. You didn't do anything wrong, David said firmly. Someone treating you badly isn't a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of theirs. Everyone saw it, though. Her friends, other people at the bar. I just stood there like an idiot. You didn't stand there like an idiot. You walked away with dignity. That takes strength. He paused. Look, I've never told you this, but something similar happened to me in college. Girl I was seeing for almost a year broke up with me at a party in front of everyone, told me I was boring and she'd been seeing someone else the whole time. Seriously? Yeah, I was devastated. Spent weeks wondering what was wrong with me. Stopped going out. My grades tanked. Finally, one of my roommates sat me down and said, You're letting her win twice. She hurt you once. Now you're hurting yourself. I absorbed that. I'm not saying get over it quickly, David continued. You need time to process. But don't let this define you. Don't let her take more from you than she already has. We talked for almost an hour. He told me about how he eventually moved past his own heartbreak, how he met his wife 2 years later, how that college relationship taught him what he didn't want. By the time we hung up, I felt lighter. Not fixed, but lighter. The next few days were hard. I took Monday off work, stayed in bed too long, ordered takeout, watched mindless TV, let myself feel everything I'd been pushing down. Tuesday, I forced myself to go to the gym. Wednesday, I went back to work. My coworkers noticed something was off. My boss, Karen, pulled me aside after a meeting. You okay? She asked. You seem distracted. Personal stuff, I said. I'm fine. She studied me for a moment. Breakup? I nodded. Take the time you need, she said, and if you need to talk, my door's open. I've been through my share of heartbreaks. They suck, but you get through them. That simple acknowledgement helped more than I expected. By Thursday, I was functioning again. Not great, but functional. I went to the gym every morning before work, started meal prepping again, called my parents and told them Emma and I had broken up. My mom wanted details, but I kept it vague. My dad just said, her loss, and changed the subject to football. I loved him for that. Friday afternoon, Alicia texted me. How are you holding up? I replied, better, taking it day by day. That's good. I'm proud of you. It was a weird thing to say, she barely knew me, but somehow it mattered. She added, I started seeing a therapist this week, realizing I've got my own stuff to work through. Figured if I'm going to call out toxic behavior, I should deal with my own patterns too. That's great, I typed back. Takes courage to do that. So does what you're doing. Moving forward instead of getting stuck in anger. Was I moving forward? I wasn't sure, but I was trying. Update 3. 2 weeks after the wine bar incident, something unexpected happened. I was at the grocery store on a Sunday afternoon, debating between pasta brands, when I heard a voice behind me. Jake? I turned. Emma stood there with a shopping basket, looking smaller than I remembered. No makeup, hair pulled back. She looked like she'd been crying recently. My first instinct was to walk away. My second was to say something cruel. I did neither. Emma, I said neutrally. Can we talk? She asked. Please, just for a minute. Every part of me wanted to say no, but curiosity won. Fine. 1 minute. We stepped to the side of the aisle. She set her basket down and wrapped her arms around herself. I'm sorry, she said quietly. What I did was unforgivable. I know that. I don't expect you to forgive me. I just needed you to hear me say it. I waited. I've been in therapy, she continued, trying to figure out why I do the things I do. My therapist says I have this pattern of pushing people away when they get too close. Something about fear of abandonment stemming from my parents' divorce. It doesn't excuse what I did. Nothing does. But I wanted you to know it wasn't about you. You were amazing. You were everything I should have wanted. But you didn't want it, I said. I did. That's what scared me. Her eyes filled with tears. When you introduced me to your parents, I panicked. It felt too real, too permanent, and instead of talking to you about it like an adult, I sabotaged everything in the worst way possible. I studied her face. She looked genuine, broken even. A month ago, this conversation would have destroyed me. Now, I just felt tired. I appreciate the apology, I said, but it doesn't change anything. I know. You humiliated me in front of your friends. You made me feel worthless. And according to Alicia, you didn't even feel bad about it afterward. Emma flinched. I did feel bad. I didn't know how to admit that, so I pretended I didn't care. I'm really good at pretending. I can tell. We stood there in uncomfortable silence. Are you seeing someone? She asked. That's not your business anymore. Right. Sorry. She wiped her eyes. I just want you to know that you didn't deserve what I did. You were a good boyfriend, a good person. I hope you find someone who appreciates that. I hope you figure out whatever you need to figure out, I said, and I meant it. Not because I wanted to reconcile, but because holding on to anger felt exhausting. Emma nodded, grabbed her basket, and walked away. I stood there for a moment, processing what had just happened. Then I grabbed my pasta and continued shopping. That night, I called David again. She apologized, I told him. How do you feel about that? I don't know. It felt genuine, but it also felt too late. It probably is too late, David said, but at least she acknowledged it. Some people never do. Do you think people can change? Maybe. With real work and real commitment. But that's not your responsibility. Your responsibility is to yourself. He was right. Update 4. A month passed, then another. Life started to feel normal again. I got promoted at work. Nothing huge, just a senior consultant position, but it came with a raise and more autonomy. I started going to a weekly basketball pickup game at the community center, made some new friends. One of them, Marcus, worked in construction and had the kind of straightforward personality I'd been craving. No games, no hidden meanings, just honest conversation. I also kept in touch with Alicia. We'd meet for coffee every couple of weeks. She'd update me on her therapy progress. I'd tell her about work and the basketball games. It was nice having a friendship that felt drama-free. One evening in late spring, almost 3 months after everything happened, Alicia and I met at a different coffee shop. She seemed excited about something. I joined a hiking group, she announced. Met some really cool people. It's been amazing getting out of my usual circle, meeting people who don't know the old me. That's great, I said genuinely. And I've been thinking, she continued. The group is doing a big hike next month up in the mountains. It's a weekend trip, camping, bonfires, the whole thing. You should come. I don't know. Come on. When's the last time you did something completely outside your comfort zone? Plus, there's someone in the group I think you'd get along with. I raised an eyebrow. Are you trying to set me up? Maybe. Her name's Rachel. She's a graphic designer, loves sci-fi movies, has a great sense of humor. No pressure, though. Just come for the hike. If you two click, great. If not, you got a fun weekend out of it. I thought about it. The old me would have said no immediately, would have said I wasn't ready. But something had shifted over the past few months. I'd spent so much time healing, processing, rebuilding. Maybe it was time to actually live again. Okay, I said. I'll come. Alicia grinned. You won't regret it. The hike was incredible. The group was about 12 people, all different ages and backgrounds, all genuinely nice. And Rachel. Alicia was right. We clicked immediately. She was funny and sharp, with this self-deprecating humor that put me at ease. We ended up talking by the campfire until 2 in the morning, discussing everything from our favorite movies to our worst relationship stories. I told her about Emma. Not all the details, just the broad strokes. She listened without judgment. Sounds like you handled it well, she said, walking away with dignity. Doing the work to heal. That takes emotional maturity. I didn't have much choice, I said. You always have a choice. You could have gotten bitter, closed yourself off. Instead, you're here, on a mountain, taking a chance on meeting new people. That's brave. I'd never thought of it that way. We exchanged numbers that weekend, started texting, met for dinner a week later, then another dinner, then a movie. I was careful not to rush things, not to project my past onto this new connection. Rachel was patient, understanding. She'd been through her own heartbreak and knew what it was like to rebuild trust. Final update. It's been almost a year since that night at the wine bar. A year since Emma said those words that felt like they'd define me forever. They don't anymore. I'm still with Rachel. We took things slow, but we're solid. She met my parents last month. My mom loves her. My dad said she has good energy. The same thing he said about Emma, which made me nervous at first. But Rachel is nothing like Emma. She's consistent. She's kind. She communicates. When she's scared or unsure about something, she tells me instead of sabotaging everything. I saw Emma one more time, about 2 months ago. I was at a coffee shop with Rachel, and Emma walked in with someone, a guy I didn't recognize. We made eye contact. She gave me a small, sad smile. I nodded back. That was it. No conversation, no drama, just 2 people who used to know each other, moving in different directions. Alicia is doing great. She's in a relationship now, too, with someone she met through the hiking group. We still meet for coffee, but less frequently now that we both have full lives. She told me recently that leaving her old friend group was the best decision she ever made. She's lighter now, happier. I think about that night sometimes, the humiliation, the pain, the feeling that I'd never recover. But I did recover. Not because I got revenge or made Emma feel as bad as she made me feel. I recovered because I chose to. Because I did the work. Because I surrounded myself with people who genuinely cared about me. My brother David was right. Emma hurt me once. I didn't let her hurt me twice by staying stuck. I won't pretend it was easy. There were dark days. Days I didn't want to get out of bed. Days I questioned everything about myself. But those days passed. And on the other side was a life I'd built intentionally, with people who valued me. Someone asked me recently if I'd forgiven Emma. I don't know if forgiveness is the right word. I've let go of the anger. I've accepted that what happened says more about where she was in her life than anything about my worth. I hope she's doing better. I hope her therapy helped. but whether it did or not isn't my concern anymore. I'm focused on my own life now, on Rachel, on my career, on the friendships I've built, on being the kind of person I'm proud to be. That night at the wine bar taught me something important. How someone treats you in your worst moment tells you everything you need to know. Emma showed me exactly who she was, and I showed myself that I could survive it, learn from it, and build something better. That's not revenge. That's growth. Edit 1. Someone asked if I ever found out why Emma acted the way she did at the wine bar specifically. Honestly, I'll never fully know. My best guess, based on what Alicia said and Emma's own admission, is that she panicked about how serious things were getting and chose the nuclear option. Some people break up quietly. She chose chaos. That's on her, not me. Edit 2. A few people mentioned that Alicia sounds like a great person for reaching out. She really is. Not many people would risk their friendships to do the right thing. I'm grateful she did. Our friendship has been one of the unexpected good things that came from all of this. Edit 3. For anyone going through something similar, give yourself time. Don't rush the healing process. Talk to people you trust. Consider therapy if you need it. Focus on rebuilding your self-worth. And know that how someone treats you isn't a reflection of your value. You're going to be okay, I promise.
Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to like and subscribe for new content.